name is Aster. I hesitated on making this video for a very good reason. Hazbin Hotel fans are, to put it politely, passionate. I wanted to preface this by saying I enjoyed Hazbin for what it was. It was pretty good, so don't worry about that too much. As the months went on, I let it slip from my mind. Then, out of curiosity, I listened to Respectless again, and here we are. The first thing that stands out to me about this song is the title. As is natural for musical numbers, the song is named after its hook. The problem is pretty apparent. Respectless is a terrible hook. For starters, this is a word that's used very rarely compared to its more handsome cousin, disrespectful. Respectless is also a mouthful. When it comes to writing lyrics, it's important to accept that some words are better than others. For example, once I used the word narrating in a song, I had to change it because narrating is uncomfortable to sing. I had to cover 4 notes with that word, so there ended up being like a glottal stop. I was like, narrating, which sounds clunky. I changed it to making up stories. Yes, it's more syllables, but it's also a lot cleaner than narrating. The word just didn't work. I'm sure it could work in another context, but it also doesn't sound very nice to the ear. The sound nar doesn't place well in a melody. Similarly, respectless doesn't slide off the tongue very well, does it? Makes it rather unseemly as a lyric. I might have let it slide if it wasn't the key word in the song. There's emphasis and focus on it. My guess as to why this word was even used was because the writers could come up with more rhymes for it than for disrespectful. Don't ask me where I put this, but when I was 17, I wrote a list of lyricism rules for myself. I distinctly remember the most important one was, if you can't find a good rhyme for a word, choose a different word. Well, the writers here clearly took that route, but I'm actually going to tell them to go back and choose the harder word. Hazbin uses some pretty questionable slant rhymes, so it wouldn't be out of the blue for them to slant disrespectful like it's a suspension bridge in high winds. Now, that's a lot to complain about for just the title of the song. Let's get into the meat of this. First thing that sticks out to me about this song is the strong introduction of the singing. It comes in on a heavy strum of the guitar. I'd usually say this is effective, except the guitar strum does not line up with the emphasized syllables of Carmine's singing. It's like barely off, but just enough for me to notice.
You better show some respect!
The rest of the stanza is fine. The only other criticism I have is the extended vocal run on way. There's no real need for it.
Way.
It drags out too much. But other than that, it's going well. Then, Hazbin has been all over the place. It's modern, it's quirky, it's aiming for that 15 to 24 demographic like there's no tomorrow. We got a beat.
You've got it twisted. I'm not the one who needs a new attitude.
The transition is very jarring, and that was probably the intention because these instruments represent these characters and all that good stuff. One is old and one is modern. That's why Velvet, I had to look that up, is backed by a loop and not a real instrumental sequence. This makes the song sound flat, especially under the emphatic performance that the singer is giving. I'll always give that to Hazbin. Most of the singers really gave their all, but they can only do so much. Lyrically, Hazbin's music suffers from terminal quirkiness, and Respectless is no exception. I cannot believe we are using hashtag as a lyric in 2024. And I get it, she's the social media demon thing, and hashtags are a thing on social media, but this lyric hurts my soul. Hazbin also has this thing where it likes to split sentences with rhymes. This is very common if it's at a natural stopping point in the sentence, like where a comma would be placed, but Hazbin kind of jams the split in there wherever it needs to. Here, it puts emphasis on the word do to ensure a rhyme with attitude, followed by a small hole to separate the lines. Do isn't the key word of the sentence though, so it comes off as random.
But I'm that hashtag bitch, and I will do nothing less than what I please. Woo!
I feel like this could work, but then I have to ask what this line is doing here in the first place. Why does Velvet need to establish that she does what she wants? It's not relevant to the rest of the song. It's implied by the previous line that she's the type of arrogant person who doesn't care what others say.
I'm the backbone of the vase.
I'm the backbone of the V's stuck out to me because I forgot who the V's were. So I clicked on the Genius annotation, and it seems like this line exists solely to establish something that never comes up again. Guys, I love being told things, and Hazbin loves telling me things. It just works.
Mad that I acted respectless. Well, it's cause no one could respect this.
Mad that I acted respectless sounds awkward even when I just speak it. This is not a thing that people say. Poetic license exists for lyric writing, but you still have to be within the bounds of would a real person say this. And I get it, it's there to rhyme with respect this. If I were to take a guess, they came up with it's cause no one could respect this first, but I don't know. Expect this, reject this, correct this, even get this if you play your cards right. There were a lot of other options for that first line that do not involve cracking open Merriam-Webster and praying for the best. The next stanza starts pretty okay. We're establishing that conflict. and then it completely derails itself to make a swipe right reference.
Sorry, babe, but I ain't swiping right.
It's like, we're always so close to making a point, and then we lose focus for the sake of being quirky. Then it goes back to our focus, and then it jumps away from it again to jam the hook in.
Can't act without more intelligence. No wonder I'm so respectless.
When Carmine has her part, the guitar returns, which is a nice break in the loop. I use a lot of guitars layered over electronic instruments in my own music, so I can't really criticize that. It's short-lived though, and we're back to the loop.
You've been warned. Oops, did I strike a nerve?
Now, we're on verse 3, and we're just now getting to the context of the song. Velvet asks Carmine why she is so resistant to fighting, which is a fair question. I hope that's expanded on. Just kidding, the song's over. Yeah, this song clocks in at 96 seconds. It's literally shorter than the original version of Old Town Road. When I analyze a story-focused song, whether it's musical or not, I always ask this question: what does the song achieve? What does Respectless achieve? It achieves one character getting upset and ending a meeting. As the saying goes, this could have been an email, or in this case, dialogue. So why is this song so embarrassing? Besides everything I said, I mean. It's because it feels pointless. It feels like they had this character and wanted to give her a song, but didn't really have a place for her, so it comes off as forced. The character reeks of trying very hard to be quirky in that marketable internet way that will become outdated in a year. The whole song reeks of trying very hard, and in my opinion, that's as embarrassing as a song can get. Now, I want to say that not all of Hazbin's songs are nearly this bad. Some of them did impress me a fair bit. I'd like to contrast this with a song I did like.
Gonna make you wish that you'd stayed gone.
Why is Stayed Gone not embarrassing? Why doesn't it make my gut recoil like Respectless does? It's not trying as hard. The characters provided for the song work better with this kind of quick, witty humor. It's about two forms of mass entertainment fighting. It's going to be a bunch of rambly jabs. When Vox has his verse, there are a lot of rhymes. Some of them sound pretty forced, but it's actually okay in this context. Since he's trying to keep his audience's attention with superficial and sensational language, the over-rhyming feels thematically fitting.
The radio demon is back in town. Why is he hanging around? What does that mean for your family? Well, Handley, I've got good news.
There's some language that feels forced, like Vox using bloody rare, but it's short-lived. After that, it pivots to Alistair's verse.
Yes, I know it's been a while since someone with style treated hell to a broadcast. Sinners rejoice!
What a dated...
Alistair speaks somewhat slower and uses fewer rhymes. The rhythm is more even, playing into Alistair's confidence. Vox's interjections add to the verse by keeping up the tension.
Insecure, pursuing a lure, flitting between this fat and that. Is nothing working?
Ignore his chirping.
Instrumentally, it's not complicated, but it's definitely more interesting and fitting than the instrumentals in Respectless. Keeping a minimal backing works when the vocals are so quick. And when there's a rhythm change or an emphasized note, the instrumentals are right there with the vocals. At the end of the song, when the power goes out, the instrumentals become chaotic and stuttering and then menacing for Alistair's final verse.
I'm afraid you've lost your signal. Let's begin. I'm gonna make you...
The final verse is a play on the first verse, and what that tells me is that someone actually thought about this song. That's probably also why it's longer than 2 minutes. There was a distinct structure and purpose in mind when this song was written. A lot of characterization and dynamic plays into Stayed Gone, making it feel worth listening to when you watch the show. In my opinion, the worst feeling someone can have when watching a show is to go, what was the point of that? And it applies double for music. So a musical show needs to be extra careful. Songs shouldn't be decided by what's quirky and good for Twitter, they should be decided by how much it can add to the presentation. Respectless doesn't add anything. Even if it wasn't terminally quirky, it would have felt unnecessary and confusing. Stayed Gone uses humor to explain something that is theoretically important to the show, so it sticks the landing a lot better. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you like. For the near future, I'll be streaming every week or so to review people's submitted lyrics. Streams will be archived on Patreon if you'd like to watch them again. You can also keep up with me on Twitter. Have a wonderful day.